Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Oh my God, I'm surprised I'm doing business with you. I'm surprised I'm giving you a call. You're almost like a Z-list celebrity in that sense. And it just helps the sale.
Yeah. And we'll get messages, and it is crazy, like, because we're just a couple insurance dudes. But we'll get messages and people say great things, and some people say not great things, but it doesn't really matter. It's just cool that there is awareness, right? And you create so much more awareness, and that you talked about that top of the funnel, right? Where that's awareness. And now there's such a huge opportunity to create awareness at a scale that you couldn't back when we had rotary phones, right? And actually, I was there when we were using Morse code, like this little tick, 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 tick. So yeah, it's remarkable, the opportunity out there. And I think people can't get past their, whether it's ego or whatever, that's stopping. They're scared to be on camera because they look stupid. I'll tell you, I mean, when we first got on, we were terrible. And it was really, really hard to watch. For me, it was hard to watch myself. And now it's like, we watch, it's like watching the tape. You just get better.
And to anybody, again, who's listening right now, I mean, you trying to compare your first video to the Insurance Dudes, like, what podcast is this for you guys now?
Almost, we're coming up on 350.
It's an insult, if you're listening to this podcast right now, for you to compare your first to their 100th video. It's an insult to these guys, right? Like, you guys put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. Like, I mean, whiteboarding stuff, I'm sure, right? At the start, that's where it started. Now you guys turn on the freaking mics. I saw what you did before we started this. Like, it's the mics. Let's go. Jas, you ready? 3, 2, 1, we're ready. Like, you know, that takes time, right? And so for anyone in the audience right now, like, give yourself some time, have some patience. But this will work. This will work if you just continue and you're consistent with it.
It's so much fun too. You can have so much fun with it because you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And you're right. 18 months was kind of the tipping point. We were going and going and going and thinking, is this ever going to turn into anything? and
so what happened for you guys at 18 months? Like, how did you remember that it was 18 months?
Well, I think that, and Jason, you can obviously, you have your take on, I think we're probably pretty aligned. It was the critical mass of listeners where we had was from in the hundreds to in the thousands every week downloading. And then people were asking us, well, how are you doing what you're doing? Because we've done fairly well with our captive carrier. You know, we were at a couple 100,000 each a month. And we decided, I guess we could package up what we do in our office and get it to other agents. And we created another company called Teledudes that does telemarketing. But we built out the whole telefunnel, right, for people. And it was like, wow, everybody just started coming, and it's been awesome because we've been able to take people that have no idea how to work leads, no idea how to do any of these things, and then get them to where they're writing all this premium. And it's awesome. You know, it's just awesome seeing that transformation.
I think it's brilliant, right? Like the fact that you took what was working well and then you went outside to the masses in that sense. It was so nice to hear that it was like the same kind of time frame. I mean, Jason, you were going to say something, I think.
Yeah, there was a couple like the first 6 months when you go into it, just like, what is this stuff? And you have like the 1 or 2 listeners. You're like, there's 10 people listening. And
it's our moms.
And then there's like, and then all of a sudden there's like more, there's like, it's slow. It's almost exponential, right?
Slow.
It's so slow at first. And you're like, this is never going to work out.
Right.
And it was so horrible.
44. 47.
Yeah, like then you record something, you're like, I would even listen to that. That's horrible, right?
Yeah.
And then right around 6 months, we were like, okay, we got to get on a schedule. So then we got on the schedule, and I'll never forget, the schedule was the thing that like really started making it like we could start seeing bumps.
Yeah.
And then beyond.
But literally every Wednesday forever, unless I'm on one of my many vacations that Jason gives me a hard time for. But it's only because I don't have much longer. I'm so old. But it's like literally every Wednesday. And then we were doing the webinar too. We were doing it live. We did the webinar live for a year. Right, Jason? I mean, was it over a year probably?
Yeah.
And then we're like, I guess we could record it and just evergreen it. And so we did that. And that's great because now people can do it whenever they want. But I mean, we've been on every week for so long. And what's interesting is, and a lot of people don't know this, is Jason and I, we met a while back just talking on the phone. And when we started doing the podcast, we hadn't met. And I think we went over a year without actually meeting in person before we met in person. But
Wow,
we
that's
became
crazy.
business partners.
yeah, business partners.
So after that, we became business partners even before we met in person.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet? Like, were you guys a guest on each other's on a podcast?
No, I had a coaching company that just helped with some little insurance stuff, and it did all right. But we talked from that, and then we just kept talking, and we'd had a lot of fun sharing ideas on the phone. And we're like, yeah, we both we're kind of starting to do our own podcast, and we thought, let's just do it together. And then, we thought insurance dudes, and because it's kind of both of our vibes, and boom, we've had a blast. Like it's a lot of fun.
I mean, the branding's great. I love it. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'm excited to do this because I know you guys are taking it serious. And I mean, I truly am, and not just blowing smoke up your guys' ass, man. To be part of 300 episodes, it really means a lot. So thank you.
And you have your own podcast.
We love your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, you guys got to definitely come on mine. I mean, I'm at about 159. I come out every Wednesday with an episode as well. I just chose hump day. I probably, again, do about 50 to 60% of my episodes are all real estate related, teaching people how to invest in real estate. Out of the 650 to 700 families that we help, I'm going to say half are investors. So we're just big believers in creating wealth through real estate. It's just not because it's the best. It's just, it's what we know. And so I'm going to say about 50-60% is that content. And then the other 40% is just me documenting. And so I bring people on like the Gary V's, the Grant Cardones, the Patrick Bet-Davids, anyone I want to learn from. I mean, that's right. Like I just barely passed high school. I think they just wanted me out, so they got me kind of that last credit or something like that. And I learned through books and audiobooks and seminars. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to start this podcast. I did 17 episodes that were all real estate. And I was like, this is boring. To Jason's point earlier, like, who the heck's going to want to listen to this? But I just got bored. Like, what am I going to tell you? Like, this is how to get a home inspection. This is how to get a mortgage. I just got bored of it. And so that's when I added some of my passions to it. And that just kind of grew the audience because it wasn't just always real estate. And anyways, my community loves the mindset stuff, right? Because like I believe that you need the mindset stuff, but then you also need like practically what to do. Like here's how to actually invest. Here's how to get a down payment. And so that's what I mix it up with, man.
Isn't it so funny how if somebody's done it, there's a process to it, right? Everything is a process to it. Why is it that not everybody achieves that? They can see the other person do it, just follow the exact same steps, but then you bring the whole mental aspect in, and that's the real struggle. It's not the doing it. Anybody can do the steps every single day. Wake up, put on your pants the same way, go to the office, make the same phone calls the same way. The only difference is that mindset. Like that's it. Once you get over it, it's kind of like Donald Trump. He went bankrupt how many times, right? You could put that dude out with nothing. And because he's done it and that he's in that mindset and he's seen it and like he believes it, dude, he could build it.
He'll make it happen.
He can build it in no time, right?
Yeah, for me, just watching so many people on my team, I think it clicked for them when the why was strong enough. Right? Like I'm always thinking about the story of the grandma that picked up the car with her grandson underneath it and she picked it up. And I mean, her why was strong enough, right? I mean, for me, a little over 3 years ago, I have a business partner right now, but there's three of us and he tragically passed away. My why got really strong really quickly because he was also the face of the brand. And so for our company to keep going, one of us had to do it. And I decided that, you know what? I mean, I was under his mentorship for a very long time that I was ready to take it on. But I think just for most people, I don't think their why is strong enough. They haven't clearly defined it because when you do, and then you actually look at it every single day. And I know this is going to be fluffy for some people, but it's the truth. Like if you put that shit in front of you every single day and remind yourself, and it might be a little chip on your shoulder to show people that, you know, all the people that told you that you couldn't be something, it could be your kids, it could be whatever. That why, once you make it strong, then you're going to consistently stay up late at night and wake up really early in the morning to do this, because it's not, and you guys know this more than anyone else, not only with content creation, but I'm talking about like running an organization, running a business, that it's boring at times. Mm-hmm. Like you go to work and you work till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, you go home, you eat something, and then you go to sleep, you wake up and you do the same shit over again. Right? Yeah. Why do you do it? Because your why is strong enough. You know that you do want to achieve something. Your ambition is higher. Like this is not about being motivated, because that stuff only lasts. You get motivated on Tuesday, and then by Wednesday you're demotivated. Right. You need to be inspired. You need to be pulled by something that's bigger than you. And I think you just got to try a lot of stuff. Like, how do I find my passion, Jas? How do I find my purpose? Look, just try a bunch of things and see what sticks. See what you like. See what keep you up really late at night and wake you up in the morning.
And it's okay to mess up and fail and screw up, but the real resolve comes when you get right back up. Right. And that's so important. You said something really interesting. I can almost tie it back to them sending that email to the 12-year-olds who will then talk to the parents to get the shot. And it's like, what happened? Like as we get older, there's this voice that tells us we can't do it. Right. And I think they're going after those 12-year-olds because the 12-year-olds will just do it. They're not afraid to do things. Right. They'll jump on, they'll get on the skateboard, they'll ride down the thing and fall and crack their head open. They'll get right back up. And we're just so risk averse. We're so afraid to look back or to screw up. And it's just remarkable. The only way to overcome that is to do what you're saying, which is to program yourself, write that message, look at it every day, figure out what that why is and go after it. But you have to constantly remind yourself. It's like going to the gym every day.
It's like brushing your teeth, right? We suggest that you do it 2 to 3 times a day, minimum twice a day. And it's making sure that you put in the reps, like you said about the gym, right? Where you're not going to see the results happen after day 4. Like if you looked into the mirror on day 7 and looked at your muscles and were pissed off that they didn't grow, they would look at you and laugh. Like, what are you, new to this, dude? This takes time. It takes some time. And so I always go back to asking people what their why is. Like, why do you want to? I just became a real estate agent. Why? Because you saw some friends driving around in BMWs and Mercedes and you think that they make a lot of money. And is that why we're doing it? Which is fine. I just know you probably won't last on my team because we don't have any quick fixes around here. Nothing around us is with shortcuts. It's all takes time. It's all built from the ground up. It's why I said to you 80% of my content is organic, because I'm not really looking for the cold leads. I'm not looking to buy followers. How many DMs do we all get, our private messages with, hey, do you want to buy followers and all that kind of stuff? We don't want any of that. We don't care about width. We care about depth. And you don't get into any of that when you know that if you just continuously fail forward, you will hit your target, but you gotta be willing to fail.
100%. It's always the people that fail over and over again are the ones that find success. What's the saying? Like, everybody says it. It's funny how, and Grant Cardone said it in a video I just watched recently. He was talking to some lady about, what does she bring to him? She brought to him something about, she was talking about sales in a sales call. And she said all of her clients are difficult that she has to do sales calls on. And automatically you can kind of see his eyes rolling. He's like, all right, this, like you can see because the mindset wasn't there. And he's like, how many calls are you making? And she's like, yeah, I make this many, whatever. And he's like, all you need to do is increase the volume. Like, that's it. That's all you need to do to win. And he said, it's a numbers game. It's a mindset. You have to fail. Everybody's going to fail. The sales dude that fails the most will find the most successes. At the very end of the video, he says, it's funny how those that fail the most have the best luck. Mm-hmm. Or something like that.
So true. I mean, in real estate, we hear from clients all the time, I only have $50,000 right now. And in our city, in Toronto, I mean, it's tough to invest with $50,000. You generally need about, call it $150,000. Call it $100,000 for argument's sake. And my response to them is always the same. You have $50,000. That's a great start. But you can still invest if you just go find 2 people that have $25,000 each, or find one other person who has $50,000, or find 10 people that have $5,000 each. you can now invest. See, the brain will always find what it's looking for. Always, long before Google, we have on the front part of our brain a thing called the RAS, the reticular activator system, that it's always activated. It's just a matter of what are you telling it to find. Pregnant women always find pregnant women. We always, you pick up a brand new car, you never saw it forever before, and now you see it every single day. They were there before. It's just that your brain's looking for it. It's just like what Grant was saying to the lady, like, yeah, your clients suck because you think that's what you're thinking. Right. Saying, you know what, I'm the luckiest person that I get to make phone calls every single day and hear a bunch of no's because I'm about to hear some of the biggest yeses in my life. Your brain starts to look for those yeses now. It's a funny thing that happens when you just put your mind to something. Really interesting, for a lack of a better word.
Right. Yep. And you always know if somebody's going to find the success by, okay, I'm going to try to do this. I don't know. I'm going to try it. It might work. It might not. It's like, all right, well, don't even try then. Don't even try. You need to go into it saying, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. What does try to do it means?
I don't know.
Mean? A Yoda says do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, that's so true. Exactly. You got to listen to Yoda.
I mean, Yoda knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say, and when you actually do something, look, it might not succeed to the level that you envisioned it, but be open to something else coming out of that, right? I mean, I love the story about you guys doing the content together, and then you realize this other opportunity. And I'm sure you've had 17 others that you probably just pushed to the side, but one seems like it's popping, and that's what you decided to do, right? And so, I mean, you can start in sales and you were selling insurance, but then over time you might be like, you know what? I sold something to a real estate agent guy. I really like what they do. And then you start selling real estate or vice versa. Right. Anything like that can happen, but you got to start looking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be on the racetrack. Everybody waits for the opportunity. And it's like the opportunity is only there when you put yourself in different situations that it can be presented to you. It's crazy. I was that guy. I mean, for all my 20s, I was waiting for the opportunity. And it wasn't until I just started doing all the time that I'd find one out of 100 things that might work. And it's like, okay, this thing. And then it led to something else. And then it leads to something else. It's like activity breeds activity, I guess. Yeah.
You just got to do. Yeah.
I was going to say success breeds success too, right? Like, I mean, you continuously do something that's working, and now you start to put yourself in front of resources, meaning people and money and certain opportunities that, again, like to what you said, Jason, I mean, they're always there. You just never got in front of it.
Yeah.
Right. So I love this conversation. We always ask this at the end is what piece of advice would you give any insurance agent coming into the industry or insurance agent that was in a slump that wanted to kick it back up? But I think for you, I want to ask you, what would you advise any business owner? I mean, you know, all the roadblocks mentally. I don't know technology. I don't want to do this. What piece of advice would you give them to just kickstart their business into 2022 and beyond to really just crush it?
Yeah, even back to your question about it kind of insurance, and I'm definitely going to answer your question for business owners, but for the insurance guys and gals, and if you're in a slump, I always think of, and maybe it might not resonate with all you guys there, but we always use hockey majority of the times as our sports analogies here. And I'm a massive Pittsburgh Penguin fan since Mario Lemieux days and now Sidney Crosby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I always think about when those guys go into slumps, it's generally because they're holding the stick too tight. Very Lemieux knew how to score the puck. Sidney Crosby knew how to score the puck. If you're a salesperson, you know how to sell. If you're in a slump, that means you probably did something you've had success. You know how to sell. You know how to make calls. You know how to follow up. Go back to the basics in sales, which is pick up the phone and just follow up. If you're scared to follow up, you might, or you're not liking to follow up, that might be a time to get out of the business, because sales, and we know this, all three of us here, and majority of your audience knows that sales is all about follow up. I mean, I got into real estate because there was guys that I sold cars to when I was in the car business that English might have been their fourth language, but they sold a lot of damn homes. I saw what their applications for the car said. It was because they would follow up until someone bought or they told them to F off. So follow up, which to me, if you're in a slump, just go back to basics. To a business owner, I think especially in the time that we're in now, for me anyways, the time that we got into the lockdown, I heard our prime minister speak the day, March 16th, that they said that we're going into a lockdown. And I've never heard him speak ever since again, that day. Not because he hasn't been speaking, because I decided that I was going to shut out the noise, shut out the external noise, noise of the media. Not that you don't need to know maybe like what the cases are and what the numbers are, but do you need to have it on all day long? Like, you need to have all that negativity. And so find people that are inspiring, that do pull you up. Because if you hang around with 5 negative people, 5 people that are just Debbie Downers all the time, there's a really good chance you're going to be number 6. But on the flip side, if you hang around 5 people that are very inspiring and want to see you succeed, then chances are you can also be number 6. So for me, I mean, as a business owner, shut out the noise and just focus on what you can control, which is your efforts.
Yeah. Well, whatever you're around, that's what you start to believe. And this thing in our dome is very powerful, the most powerful computer that you can get. Well, maybe there's some more powerful ones now, but it is what drives us and gets us there. Like, you didn't get Grant Cardone or Patrick Bet-David or Gary Vee because you tried one time and it was at the beginning, and then you said, oh, well, they didn't want to, never mind. Right? You went after it. And, you know, some of the guests that we've had, including you, it's from going after it, asking multiple times. I mean, there's its own funnel just to get guests, especially at the beginning.
I followed those 3 names that you said really quickly. I followed up with each of them for a year and a half. Grant took 2 years and 2 months with like 17 no's. 17 no's. But he never told me to F off. He never told me to screw off. And so I decided that I was going to keep on going. I was going to keep on going until he did. Gary took about, I think, a little close to 2 years. Patrick Bet-David, a year and a half. And there's so many other names. But it was all follow-up. And so get ready for a lot of no's. Because, yes, to your point, I mean, I know how hard it is to get guests.
Stop barking.
All right. Well, Jas, that was amazing.
Amazing, man.
I think Jas let the dogs out.
Yeah, Jas let the dogs out. How can people find you? What is your YouTube channel? Give us all the details.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. And I hope I brought some value to the conversation.
Oh, man, so good.
Most importantly, your listeners. Awesome. Best place really is the one-stop shop, which is my website. It's jastakhar.ca, JASTAKHAR.ca. CA is for Canada. YouTube page is just the first and last name, Jas Takhar. Very, very easy to find.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure some folks will go check that out. There's so much in your space that applies to this space and really to all business. There's a lot of similarities across all the industries. So great to have you on. Really appreciate you coming, and thank you, man.
Thank you, Jas.
Thanks again, guys. Thank you so much, man.
See ya.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now. Live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's
Okay.
520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.